Welcome back to Global Discovery. Today we're diving into an incredible story about one of the members of SB19 and the journey that helped shape Asian pop on the global stage. If you love stories about music, struggle, and success, you're in the right place. Please like and subscribe and support the channel so I can keep creating more videos like this for our beloved SB19 and for Filipino talent reaching the world. Let's get into the story. They were called P-Pop copycats, trained in a grueling system that wasn't made for them. But instead of being crushed by it, they flipped the script, started a musical revolution, and launched an entire country onto the global pop stage. This is the story of how SB19 didn't just follow the K-pop blueprint. They rewrote it. For decades, Filipino talent has been a quiet powerhouse in global entertainment, but almost always in the background, rarely in the spotlight. It's a frustration felt by millions, a nation of world-class performers just waiting for their turn. But what if the key wasn't waiting for an invitation, but building your own door? This isn't just the story of another boy band. This is the story of 5 young men who looked at the rules of the game and decided to make their own. To understand the revolution, you have to know the system that created the revolutionaries. When SB19 came together, the blueprint for an Asian supergroup seemed to be written in only one language, Korean. For 4 long years, Pablo, Josh, Stel, Ken, and Justin trained under the Korean company Show BT Entertainment. They were thrown into the legendary K-pop idol trainee system, a boot camp designed to churn out perfection through relentless, punishing discipline. This meant endless hours of synchronized choreography, intense vocal coaching, and mastering stage presence. It was a system that had created global giants, and SB19 was its first Filipino experiment. This training gave them a razor-sharp polish that was almost unheard of in the local pop scene at the time, equipping them with skills that set them light years apart from other acts. But that advantage came at a cost. When they debuted on October 26, 2018, with their ballad Tila Luha, the reaction wasn't excitement. It was skepticism and even mockery. The label K-pop copycats was slapped on them instantly. To many, their sharp moves and polished style didn't look like an homage. It looked like a cheap imitation. They were seen as trying to be something they weren't, borrowing an identity instead of building their own. This wasn't just online hate, it was a cultural mismatch. The Philippine music scene was dominated by heartfelt OPM ballads and rock bands. A dance-heavy, highly produced boy group was an awkward fit. They were too pop for the band scene and felt too foreign for traditional OPM fans. The struggle was real. On top of the identity crisis, they were broke and facing crushing public indifference. They performed in malls to tiny crowds, fighting for any shred of attention. The members have been open about how hard that time was. The lack of money, the constant uncertainty, and the feeling that they were screaming into a void. It was an underdog story in real time. Here was a group with world-class training and a fire in their bellies, but they couldn't get seen or heard in their own country. The dream that had cost them their youth was slipping through their fingers, bringing them to the very edge of calling it quits. Every revolution has a spark. For SB19, it wasn't a big-budget music video for a major record deal. It was a dance practice video, uploaded to YouTube out of pure desperation. The song was Go Up, their second single. Lyrically, it was their final prayer, a self-motivating anthem about pushing forward when everything is telling you to stop. They had decided to give their dream one last shot before disbanding, and they poured every ounce of their remaining hope and energy into this performance. The Go Up dance practice video was completely raw. No fancy sets, no costumes, just 5 guys in a simple studio. But the performance was anything but simple. It was a jaw-dropping showcase of power, precision, and perfect synchronization, proof of the thousands of hours they had spent in training. It was pure, unfiltered talent. And then something amazing happened. A fan on Twitter shared the video. From there, it was like a spark hitting gasoline. The video started spreading, first in small online communities, then exploding into the mainstream. People who had never heard of them were floored by their skill. The very thing they were criticized for, their K-pop level polish, was now their biggest weapon. It was undeniable proof of their world-class talent. This is where the most important character in the SB19 story enters. Their fandom, atin. The name, pronounced 18, is a nod to their 2018 beginnings and also means yours in Tagalog, symbolizing their connection. Atin didn't just watch content, they became an army. They organized online, launching streaming parties and hashtag campaigns to get the Go Up video in front of more eyes. They were the engine that turned a spark of grassroots energy into a roaring fire. The results were life-changing. Go Up went viral, and suddenly SB19 was the name everyone was talking about. The song that was supposed to be their farewell became their grand introduction. It launched them into the mainstream and earned them a ton of awards, including Song of the Year at the 2020 VIX Music Awards. The days of empty malls were officially over. The tide had turned, not because a corporation decided it was time, but because a global community of fans saw their talent and refused to let it be ignored. If you're getting inspired by this incredible comeback story, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe. It tells the algorithm that stories about Filipino talent and determination matter. And you won't want to miss what happens next. With Go Up blowing the doors open, SB19 started a climb that would change the industry. They weren't just a viral moment anymore, they were a force, and they started hitting milestones that were once unthinkable for a Filipino group. Their first stop was the Billboard charts, a place few Filipino artists had ever been. In 2021, they broke a massive barrier by becoming the first Filipino and Southeast Asian act nominated for a Billboard Music Award in the top social artist category. This put them right alongside giants like BTS and Ariana Grande, proving their fan base, atin, could compete on a global scale. But they were just getting started. The records kept falling. Their anthem, Bazinga, stormed the charts, holding the #1 spot on Billboard's Hot Trending Songs chart for a stunning 7 weeks, a record that surpassed BTS's Butter. This wasn't just a blip of social media buzz, it was sustained global dominance. As their fame exploded, their art deepened. They began releasing music that wasn't just about showing off their skills, but about expressing a distinctly Filipino identity. Their 2021 EP, Pagsibol, which means germination, was a powerful statement about their roots. The EP won Album of the Year and gave us the beautiful ballad Mapa. The song, a blend of mama and papa, is a tribute to their parents that resonated so deeply it became an anthem of gratitude across the Philippines and for Filipinos worldwide. They followed that up with their 2023 EP, Hagtatag, or Establishment, a declaration that they were here to stay. This EP gave the world Gento, a viral mega hit that took over social media. The song's clever wordplay, mixing the Filipino word ganito, like this, with ginto, gold, and its incredibly complex choreography, sparked a global dance challenge. Gento proved they could create a sound that was both proudly P-Pop and undeniably catchy, landing them on Billboard's World Digital Song Sales chart. Their live shows grew just as fast. After their first world tour, the Wyatt Tour in 2022, they launched the Pagtatag World Tour in 2023. This massive tour included 18 shows across the Philippines, the US, Canada, and Asia, finishing with sold-out finale concerts at the iconic Araneta Coliseum in Manila. From empty malls to sold-out world tours, SB19 hadn't just made it. They were paving a golden road for others to follow. As SB19's star continued to rise, they made their most revolutionary move yet, one that had nothing to do with charts or ticket sales, but everything to do with power. In a stunning show of self-belief, the 5 members of SB19 founded their own company, 1Z Entertainment. This was a complete game changer. After parting ways with their previous agency, they took full control of their careers. The name 1Z, or One Zone, is a nod to their tagline, "Get in the zone," and it symbolized their mission to carve out their own space in the industry. By launching 1Z, they became one of the first, if not the first, major self-managed pop groups in the Philippines. This wasn't just a business decision, it was a radical act of empowerment. Suddenly, they were no longer just the talent. They were the CEOs and the creative directors. They now had complete control over every single aspect of their art. From the songwriting and production to the choreography and music videos, this shift earned them huge respect and allowed them to define authenticity on their own terms. The artists were now the architects. The creative freedom was immediate and obvious. They weren't just performing a vision anymore. They were building it from scratch. This hands-on approach became a key part of their identity, and fans and critics alike noticed a new level of personal depth in their work. The story was no longer just about their struggle. It was about their vision for the future. This move sent shockwaves through the Filipino entertainment industry, where artists have often been dependent on large networks and management companies. SB19 created a new blueprint for success, one where artists could own their work, control their careers, and build a legacy for themselves. They weren't just building a company, they were building a new model for others to follow, and are already expanding their vision by working to launch new artists under their label. By taking control of the business, SB19 didn't just change the rules for themselves. They started rewriting them for an entire industry. SB19's success wasn't just a win for them. It was a catalyst for an entire movement. They kicked the door open so a whole generation of artists could run through it. Their journey legitimized P-Pop as a genre, turning the copycat insult into a badge of honor that now stood for world-class quality and ambition. It's why they're now hailed as the kings of P-Pop. They were the trailblazers. The SB19 effect was immediate. The P-Pop scene exploded with new talent. Groups like Binny and BGYO emerged, each with their own unique style, but all benefiting from the path SB19 had cleared. The industry was growing up. The perception of P-Pop completely changed. It went from a niche, derivative genre to a major cultural force. Even the elder statesmen of Filipino music took notice. In 2025, OPM icon Gary Valenciano powerfully called SB19 the headlights of the industry, lighting the way for everyone else to follow. And the doors SB19 opened are leading to real opportunities. The girl group Beanie, for example, has seen a massive rise, becoming the first P-Pop act to perform at K-Con in Los Angeles, a major festival celebrating Korean culture and music. It shows that the bridge SB19 built is strong enough for others to cross. What started with 5 guys in a dance studio has now become a full-blown P-Pop wave, and it's lifting the entire industry up with it. By 2026, the conversation around SB19 is completely different. A K-pop copycat label is a distant memory, replaced with words like pioneers, trendsetters, and global artists. They officially moved beyond comparison by creating a category all their own. Their story proves that the intense K-pop training system wasn't a trap. It was a weapon they sharpened and used with a proudly Filipino heart. Their global reach is undeniable. In January 2026, SB19 officially surpassed an incredible 1 billion streams across all their credits on Spotify. A massive milestone, proving their sustained global listenership. Their chart performance tells a similar story. They've landed multiple songs on Billboard's World Digital Song Sales chart, including the viral sensation Gento. Their tours have reached a scale once thought impossible for a Filipino pop act. The Wayat and Pagtatag world tours saw them playing to sold-out crowds across North America, Asia, and the Middle East. With their billion-plus streams, their self-owned company, and their sold-out global tours, SB19 have more than earned the title of the first true global Filipino boy group. They proved that P-Pop isn't just a regional genre. It's a powerful force on the world stage, capable of standing right next to the giants of Asian pop. So, how did a group once dismissed as copycats completely change the game? They did it by refusing to stay in the box they were put in. SB19's story is a masterclass in transformation. They took the discipline of the K-pop system and filled it with Filipino soul. They took rejection and turned it into rocket fuel. They treated their fans not just as an audience, but as partners. And when they finally got to the top, they didn't just admire the view. They started building a ladder for everyone else. From nearly breaking up before the Go Up miracle, to their historic Billboard nominations, to the revolutionary act of founding One Z Entertainment, their journey has been about shattering expectations. They created a new formula for success, one where you can achieve global stardom without ever losing your cultural identity or your creative freedom. SB19 put the Philippines on the global pop map, not by trying to fit in, but by bravely and brilliantly building a world of their own. Their legacy isn't just in the music, it's in the movement they created. They proved P-pop is world-class, and in doing so, they changed the rules for everyone. What do you think was the single biggest turning point in SB19's journey? Was it the Go Up video, the Billboard nomination, or starting their own company? Let me know in the comments below. And if you believe in the power of P-pop, make sure to subscribe for more stories celebrating Filipino talent taking on the world.